Hey y'all, about 9 months ago, I purchased this light armor oven. I was in need of one about this size, didn't have time to build it, so I thought I'd give them a chance. And I'd noticed they've been asking for reviews, so thought, yeah, I don't know, since I've had it, probably about 150 hours on this oven, and so I've got some opinions about it, things I like and don't like, and I thought I'd take the time to share it with y'all and with them. Generally, when I do these videos, any video that you see from me, I do it pretty much right then. That's not going to be possible with this because of the things I want to do and want to describe. So if you see the clothes changing or the look changing, it's because there's been editing where I may decide to do a bunch of stuff right now looking like this, and then we'll be splicing in some other bits. So just want to say it up front. Didn't want anything to be confusing or for people to misunderstand what was going on. My intent is always just to be on the spot, straightforward. Here's how we do it, and here's how we get things done. It's just not going to be possible here. Right now, I'd just like to kind of give you all a little tour of the oven, kind of how it comes, what you can expect, and then we kind of get into operations and things like that. All right, let's start with a control panel. How it ships: you have an on and off switch and a PID controller. The PID controller that comes with these is an FT100 by Maxwell. I swapped this out instantly with a PID controller made by Aberins Instruments. The reason being, a couple reasons, but the main reason, I've built several items using these controllers. I'm familiar with them. I know how to use it, program it, make changes. And if I have any questions, problems, concerns, I have an easy way to contact these people. And they have a great track record of getting back with you in a timely fashion to let you know how to do something or how to make something happen. I did not find that to be the case with these. Information on these, for me, was difficult to find. And I seem to remember it was 9 months ago, one of the things that initiated all this is the timer on this counts up. You cannot change it to where there's a countdown. Call it OCD or whatever. I like a countdown. I can do it either way with the Aberins Instrument PID controller. I could not do it with this. So this is one of those things, neither here nor there. They work the same. It performs the same way. It allows the oven to get up to temperature, gets up to the right temperature, the timer kicks on, and then after it's finished, it cuts off. So neither here nor there, just my preference. Another preference I like to have a light that shows me when my element is on. Again, call it OCD, but I just like to know when it's burning. There'll be a little light on these controllers that let you know when your element is on. I just like a big green light showing me things are burning inside. The other thing I really like is a reset switch, so I don't have to cut an oven on and off to restart a program. Wire in a reset switch, I get to the end of a bake, need to start again, hit reset, it's ready to go. Again, neither of these come with it. It's not a deal breaker. It's an inexpensive thing for you to add. It was just, this is a personal preference thing. This is how I set up almost all of my ovens, similar to this right here. Okay, inside of the oven. Unless you order it with racking installed, which are those angled hangers. Can't remember what they're called. The 90 degrees with holes in them. They will be installed like such, where you can hang your pieces. I knew I wasn't going to do that, so I ordered it empty. I didn't need anything. What I do, again, because I knew what I was wanting, bare oven, I use 1-inch angle iron and run me a shelf in 2 spots. Top shelf is expanded metal with 3/4 inch angle iron, and I'll show you why. I love this stuff for what it lets you do. It helps if you put it in straight. There you go. There's my rack. Reason I love expanded metal, I can put this hook anywhere that I choose. Where if you have a railing, a set railing system, you are only able to put it where that rail is. And lots of times I'll need a shelf, or for lots of small objects, I've got 2 areas to hang. So now I've got 2 places that I can hang stuff, and it works very well. This is not a knock towards them. I'm just showing you how I set mine up and why I ordered it plain. Another thing, occasionally you have things that are heavier than you'd want to hang from this, or just long singular objects. Just make myself a single pole to hang things. I can take this rack off, put it up there, use it the same way. So anyway, when you get yours, if you order one, there won't be anything like that in here unless you specify for the hanging system. All right, here we are in the back of the oven, and for what it's worth, this is the convection fan. It helps circulate the air. Definitely, if it were me, get one of these. This just makes the temperature inside the oven pretty much even throughout. Nice little feature. I would suggest, if you consider it, get one of these. Add that as an option. Something that they sell as an option is a roller system for your oven. Otherwise, what you receive is an oven that just sits flat on the floor. I need to move this in and out on occasion, so I just used, I believe that's 1.5 inch tube steel. I built my own, set it on it, insulated the bottom, set it back down on top. Again, they do offer the option, and they sell something that they make that will do the same thing. Now, whether it is insulated or not, I don't know. Another option they have sits behind that little grate, and it is the Element upgrade. If you think that you need to go to 500 degrees, this is something that you're going to need. You will need the upgraded element that they sell with this. This is something that we will be coming back to. Now, here are some things I'm not particularly happy about. I found that the floor, the base of the oven, is no more than I don't know what gauge it is, 18 gauge or something, just galvanized sheet metal. There's no insulation, nothing. So again, if you're going to be doing any high heat operations and decide not to have like a roller system, or having this sitting down flat on the floor, you might want to reconsider some things. All right, this is an admittedly nitpicky thing, but the hasp, which works fine, except because of how it's made, this thing shifts down and rotates this way. I've drilled out, just put a little cotter key in it to help hold it up. So one-handed, it almost always goes to where it needs to be. Otherwise, you'll find yourself constantly pushing and pulling that thing up. It's nitpicky, but just something quick, easy fix and something to be aware of. Okay, now for some things I'm not particularly happy about. And this is where we're going to be really getting into the oven. Remember I talked about the elements going up to 500 degrees. Well, I had the need for my first 500 degree cook. I did a test, got it up to 500 degrees, make sure everything worked fine. But what I discovered is the heat coming outside of this thing with it being closed it was severe. Stopped. I've got some oven insulation, that ceramic wool stuff, kind of pricey. I wrapped the outside of the oven so the heat wouldn't be escaping and causing a problem. I came back, everything was a lot better. You get up near the insulation, you barely could even tell that the oven was on. Did my bake, it was an hour cook. But what I noticed when I was finished, it had melted the bezel of my PID controller. And that's for one cook, one time. And that concerned me. So I got with them the next day, sent them an email, said, hey, did a 500 degree cook. I'm anticipating having to do more of these. What kind of insulation's in the oven? Is it ceramic insulation? Is it made for ovens? What is it? I get a very short worded response. Basically, we don't recommend that you go over 500 degrees and fiberglass. That's all I got. Now, I paid good money for this. I'm not expecting them to bend over backwards, but at least be a little bit concerned. And I didn't feel like I got any of that. Rather than just shoot off a hot email, I just settled down and said, listen, I've got a problem that I need to be solved. What do you recommend? I says, it's melting this here. What do you suggest? I got another short email. Perhaps if I take the cover off of this, it would help. That's it. That's all the help I got from them. That's not good. That's where I come in as far as recommendations and whether I recommend somebody. As far as customer service, or you having a problem and you need help, that's kind of where you find out where a company really is. I basically got nothing. And that does not sit well with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to peel this thing open. We're going to see what kind of insulation's really inside of it. And I have a feeling it's going to be regular household insulation. But we'll wait and see. And then I'm going to replace what's in here with the oven insulation that will prevent just all the heat escaping and melting things. I mean, what if this had melted and started a fire? I'm still, as you can tell, I am still not happy with that. I do not like feeling like somebody has just dismissed me. So we're going to look into this, and then I'm going to make changes that I think I need to make, and we'll see how much better it works. I think what I'll do first is we'll just get it up to 300 degrees and take a temperature reading on the outside of the oven of what it is right now. And then we'll do our stuff, and we'll come back, and then we'll do a 300 degrees and do it with what I anticipate being an improved method of insulating this up. Well, I hate to admit it, but there was all kinds of award-winning video footage lost due to no sound, due to my fault when I was pulling the skin off of the door. I think some off the top. Because what I did yesterday, I pulled the skin off the door, the top, and the back, and added insulation. Removed the insulation that's in there, trimmed it up, added the oven insulation, and then put the other insulation back in. I'll do an overlay of some of those videos, kind of splice it in here over this, showing what I did. But basically, I opened it up, showed you what kind of insulation was in there. I have no way of knowing for sure that it's oven insulation or not. I mean, they could have let me know when I asked them rather than a one-word description of fiberglass, but you know, they had a chance to tell me. They didn't. So the feel for what I have, color aside, the feel for what I'm using and for what they're using, it feels more like household insulation. Um, I would like to know exactly what it is. Maybe one day we'll find out. But what I'm putting in there is, I know, is oven insulation rated to, I think, 1,000 or 1,200 degrees. And I know it works because I have draped a bat of it over this while I was cooking, and you couldn't even tell the oven was on. So it does a really good job. Anyway, that's the process I'll be going through here. Just taking what's in there out, putting the known good in, and then I had room to put the other insulation back in. So the ceramic, or let's call it the oven insulation, is closest to the walls inside, and then how it came, I put that back on the outside of the oven, closest to the outside. So what I have left to do after doing, like I said, the front, the top, and the back, are the sides. They're going to be a little more challenging. The back was challenging because of the motor and the duct and all. Not a bad deal. And I got to say, everything was insulated. I mean, it's in there, it's covered. I just question if it's the best for running something at 500 degrees, or for the opportunity to run at 500 degrees. So we'll be pulling the skin off the side or both sides, replacing that insulation. And my intention, when that's all finished, is to do another 500 degree test, or close to it. Maybe I'll just go to 450. Getting to 500 degrees is no problem. Just gets there. Again, ordered the upgraded element. It had no problem getting to 500 degrees. It was just the radiant heat coming off of this thing was incredible. But anyway, that's the plan, and we'll keep going. One thing I suspected, and I found when I pulled the skin off the back of the oven, is there is a duct that runs from the base of the circulation fan all the way to the bottom of the oven. That's how the air is circulated. There's no way for that to be insulated on the back, because it butts right up next to this. So that's going to stay hot. Something I'm going to consider doing, in fact I know I'm going to, is I'm just going to get a PS, whatever that is, 7 inches or so. Just run a sheet of the oven insulation about 7 inches wide all the way down, and it would help insulate it further. Not a knock on them or how it's made. It's just there's only so much room between the walls of these things, and it's insulated on each side. It's just there's no way for the back to be, and I know that heat is transferring back to this, and it gets pretty hot right there. So we can take care of that ourselves. But again, just something I found, something you may want to, if you purchase one of these, something you may want to look into. Okay, I got everything buttoned back up. And a little overlay, what I'll put right here is, you'll see the back of the unit where the duct for the circulated air goes through. I've just placed some of the insulation along that to help with the heat escaping. I can come up with something better than that later, but for right now that should be sufficient and should help. Can't see it, but looking on the inside of the door, I can see, I mean, this is what would be found on any oven, but I can see traces of where I'm having stuff escape, and I've got it right here and right down here at the bottom. So I'm going to come shore these up again later. But for right now, we're going to do us a cook test and see if I notice anything any better. So we'll set this thing for I'm going to do just 450 degrees so I don't completely cook this place up. All right, so we'll see how that does and just go from there. Okay, it's been running for a little over 30 minutes and it took it about 30 minutes to get up to temperature, and those times are going to vary depending on your PID controller and how you have it set. I've got this set for things being very precise, so it takes longer to get to temperature. It gets close and then it starts uh, powering itself down, so when it gets up to it, it works itself up to temperature rather than just getting there and having to go past, come back down, all that. So don't read anything into this particular oven taking 30 minutes to get up to 450 degrees. I can say this, since doing the insulation, I can actually be around this thing. Before, I had all the fans going. I just couldn't even be in it. It was intolerable. Again, it was 50 degrees warm. It was 500, but it was miserable. So what we're going to do is we'll power it down, let it cool off, to come back and give you my final thoughts and summation about things, and we'll just we'll go from there. Remember when I said the bottom of the oven as it comes is just a piece of galvanized sheet metal with no insulation? Well, because it's like that, there will be nothing down here at the bottom of the door for keep the heat from escaping. You can see where this stops. I've got a piece of when I did this up with my base, I fixed a piece of angle iron, and to the face of this is that fire stove insulation attached to the front to continue this all the way around. What I would suggest for retaining more of the heat inside the oven is to even go around this face here with another roll of insulation. That would help. Right, we cooled down enough where I can touch and move, and because there are some places that are obviously going to be hot. One of the things to keep in mind, again, these things I'm saying now have nothing to do with how this is built and hammering on them. The frame structure of this oven, I don't care how well you insulate it, where all of this is attached to the frame and there cannot be any insulation, that is going to transfer heat, so it's going to get hot. So as well as things can be done, there's still going to be an issue with it, heat transference. If you think something like that may be a problem, you can always blanket it. Put insulation over it, and that will keep that in. From my experience with just doing up to 300 degree cooks, that's never been an issue. And since I've gone in and redone the insulation, I even suspect that's going to be better than it was before. The problem that I had with the bezel getting hot and melting, with that last test I did, I put some of this insulation between the door frame and this, and it helped. But what I'm finding is, I think the biggest problem is the heat transference from the frame to where this is attached. So the longer it's in there, it just continues to heat and heat up and get this warm. I think running more insulation around here will help, but I don't know that that would solve the problem of running this at 500 degrees several times. I think it's just going to add up. A solution to that would be to remove this from being attached to the oven itself and having it mounted tabletop wall or something like that. That's almost all of the ovens that I've made are done, It's not a right or wrong thing. It's knowing what you're doing. And 500 degrees may just be a little much for this being attached to the side of the oven. Time will tell, because I'm going to be doing it. I mentioned the insulation at the bottom of the door, and what that I would even insulate around the door further to just, help things. Again, this is more towards the 500 degree cure than the 300. And I guess just to sum things up, again, I've had this, I think, 9-ish months and got about 150 hours on it, and it has done everything they said it would do. It has performed without a problem until I got to the 500 degree area, and that's where I had what I was thinking were safety problems. So the issue that I have with the oven is not so much how it's built, other than I think at 500 degrees you need better insulation than was in it. The problem I have is with the customer service aspect of it. I emailed to get information and help, and I really felt like I was just dismissed. They didn't seem concerned. They didn't follow up, nothing. It was like, here, done. Did not like that. So if you are a person who relies on customer service or will rely on the company helping you out if you have a problem later on or help in getting some things done, take that into consideration. Again, I was not happy with it, and I'm being honest. I'm honest with all my reviews, good and bad. And this is one of the few bad things. Just was not happy about that part, especially since I felt it could end up being a safety situation. So I just got to put that out there. But as far as how it works and how it's done, perfectly happy with it. It is exactly what I expected. It's not a $8,000 pro oven, but it does exactly what they said, and I was happy with that. There's a few little things on the build that as a individual I may think could be done a little differently, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about something that as it is, and could you be happy with it? As it is, you can put this in, put it right to work, and it'll do what you need. So all those things being said, that's what I have to say about the Light Armor LA 2500B. It's a good unit. It works like they said, but customer service people, you let me down, and I feel like you left me hanging. And if you've done that to me, you're probably going to do that to some other people. So you might want to think about that as you're asking for reviews and touting your product. You got to be able to back those things up. So consider that. So anyway, for what it's worth, those are my opinions. I'm pretty happy with the thing as it is. And I think the people that built it do a pretty fair and economical solution for people who are needing a curing oven. So I appreciate everybody stopping by. And as usual, good luck with your projects.